he was using it. I've never seen it with a different handle.
And
not like the
so it's not a trigger's broom then.
It's not a trigger's broom. It's not a trigger's broom. It's absolutely useless as a hammer in some respects because if you whack, I mean, there's a couple of nails rammed into the head because no wedge to sort of try and keep it in place. Yeah, it'd be okay if you were tapping something very light into
cylindrical
something very
metal
soft.
wedges, Andy. I think we call those.
Yeah, but to try and actually stick a proper nail into a proper piece of wood, and it would be utterly useless. But I'm never going to get rid of it. Yeah, it's.
I was bequeathed all my next door neighbour. Next door neighbour was a fantastic carpenter. He made some wooden frames for planes in World War II and that. And when he died, quite a few years ago now, when his wife died, she bequeathed me all his tools. Well, I promptly gave a lot of mine away. I've got chisels. What are down? I've been using it today. An 1.25 inch chisel. What's down? It's nearly wider than what it is long. It's had that much wear out of it, and I kept all then and gave all my chisels away. I just kept some chisels what's got plastic handles for if I use anything what might have got a nail in it. And rather than use it, and I did keep my neighbours. I've kept his saws. Well, I've could have somebody's told me I can sharpen them at his place, or I think he'll have to sharpen them. But yeah, I mean, so most of these tools are older than me, and but a quality tool.
Yeah.
I would suggest to anybody before you go and buy tools, just out certain tools will never lose the quality. Spanners, hammers, chisels, they'll never lose the quality. They might be slightly better now, some with the modern metals, but good quality chisels, good quality. They'll always be good quality. They always will be.
Yeah, we've got a set of Stanley chisels at the men's shed that I go to. I don't know this. I can't remember the specific kind of type and name, but they've got a socket rather than a tang, and they've got hammer. They've got a metal end, so you can whack into them without risk of any damage to them. Yeah. The handles are beautiful. The whole thing, that even the metal, just feels so good. And the person we inherited from them and kept them sharp. We haven't, as far as I know, no one's sharpened them since we've had them. They don't get a huge amount of use, but they're still paring sharp, and they're just beautiful to use. They're great to look at, and they've. I mean, they're older than me for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, you see with spanners, I can't tell you how many spanners I've bent. Modern style spanners. When I was a scaffolder, I always used to break my scaffold spanners. I mean, did it possible to break, but I broke them. I used to get a lot of overtime because I used to be the only one who could tighten things up. Once I tightened it, nobody could untighten it. And it's but that's the amount of spanners. But the old spanners, you can't bend them. No, but a lot of these modern ones, they'll break off. But like I say, I mean, if somebody wants to work at, get good tools on a budget, car boot sales every time. Car boot sales. There's a lot of good stuff there. Like I say, you don't have to spend a fortune to get good tools, and if you do buy them on the market, go out for new tools, just check every review. I check every review possible sometimes. The Yorkshireman in me, I think. And some of the reviews, they'll tell you it's absolute crap. That's why I do tend to review things myself as well. If it's a pile of rubbish, I don't review it. I must admit, I'm not somebody who'll just go out and say it's a pile of rubbish to anybody. You got to think on this is somebody's business.
Yeah.
You could be damaging. I mean, little old me. I mean, nobody takes any notice anyway. I mean, even Valerie doesn't. And to be honest, Valerie's got more tools than average wood turner anyway. We both have our own wood turning tools because Valley don't believe in lending other people's stuff, borrowing them. Sorry, and I won a set of Robert Sobeys wood turning chisels off Hampshire Sheen. It's exactly the same set as I've got, so Valley claimed them, and she's probably got more traditional than I have. Definitely more things I ain't got none. Carbides. The only thing I've got more is I've got mini tools, to do my miniature stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got mini tools for them, and that's the only thing. But Valley's tool collection is extensive on wood turning. But again, you don't need as many as I've got. Really, I mean, some people kid you that they do. You need this, you need that, you need that. Just get the few basics and learn how to use them. And again, I mean, I say one of my main mantras is just have fun at workshop. So I say, if you're worried about not being able to afford this and not being able to afford that, you're not going to have much fun. I told you guys tools I've got, and I have got some good stuff and expensive stuff. It don't mean I can use them. It just means I've got them. I had just as much fun and probably more fun when I hardly had anything. When I'm knocking stuff up out of pallets or making pergolas and making sheds for people or just as much fun. As I said before, I hate snobbery in any kind, and people be snobbish because somebody hasn't got this and hasn't got that is loads of rubbish. That's, I mean, that piece up there on the wall, that's a small art, one of his first ever jobs, and the guy had hardly any tools at all when he did that, and I love it. It's a fantastic piece, and you don't. I think he just used jigsaw. That's all he had, were a jigsaw, and that's it. People. I mean, this carbide traditional tool thing for wood turning. It's a load of rubbish. Just have fun, but use whatever's good for you, whatever you want. Anybody who's too snobby to say you must have this, you must have that, they're talking through the backsides.
You find this? I
I've got
listened
all
to
these.
3 Northern Makers this morning. It's Steve Bell, who was on a few weeks ago, and Pierre from Sweden. And Steve was talking about the video he put out. It came out on the 1st of February. It's supposed to be his January video, and he did say he started uploading it in January, but it just took too long to upload. But one of the very first comments he got was somebody complaining that not many people in his audience would be able to have a shaper origin. He has a shaper origin. Yeah. Again, he's retired. He's worked for a very long time. He's earned his money. He's in a position where he can buy some nice pieces of kit. And he knows how to use it. He did a really good job, really good video. It's just like, what's the point of what was the point of that comment? It wasn't like he was saying the only way you can make this is if you have a shaper origin, or I'm showing off because I've got a shaper origin. No, he happens to have one. Yes, it makes his life easier, because that's what a lot of the nice tools do. They just make things a bit quicker, a bit easier.
Exactly. Out there. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I'd love a shaper origin. I'd love one, but I would. That's it ain't gonna happen because I can't warrant it. That sort of money. But then again, you can see on YouTube all the time about people in the poorer areas just doing the exact same thing with just a couple of chisels and a bent teaspoon. I mean, something like that. I mean, look at take any cathedral in country. and see a wealth of stuff what I can't even do on my Ooze Nest and other stuff. I can't even do it on all this stuff, and yet they did it with just, let's say, bare tools.
Yeah,
And,
no power tools. Yeah, at best, if
and
there
the
was a power
steel
tool,
wasn't as good.
it would have been a kind of water-powered saw for some of the wood, maybe. But yeah, but of course the difference is that they would have taken. I mean, how long did it take to build the average cathedral? Yeah, somewhere between sort of
probably
10,
still
25
probably
years. Some aren't finished.
Still quicker than it'd be to get planning permission in Sheffield. So it's
and still shorter than some people's videos
I mean,
on YouTube.
yeah, I mean, I've I've got a place in Italy. It's an apartment that took that long to build. I swear, the Colosseum. It's not derelict. It's just not been finished built yet. They take that long, and it's I mean, so modern, yeah. And what they do to throw up quickly is a load of rubbish. The houses, some of the houses around here were thrown up in a few weeks. I mean, they made them 3 stories high because when it sinks into the ground, you've still got top 2 stories.
And a basement.
Yeah, It's what you can. I'll tell you where that is. It's actually on Orgreave start, where they had the battle for Orgreave in the miners' strike. That's a couple hundred yards that way, and but it's or meters for metric. But yeah, it's they did a lot of outcropping there, and they just filled it in and built on top. But like I say, it's what you call it. I'll just check his finger. I'll just see what Scott's put about putting my feet in. Is what you call. But no, like I said, everybody knows I any kind of snobbery. I'm too common to be snob. That's what I think. Ultimately, I can only aspire to. And I'm not bothered if all you can do is just fasten 2 pieces of wood together and you're proud of that job. If that's all you can do, you're really proud, you really enjoyed it, who gives a damn? As long as you've enjoyed it doing it. On WhatsApp, I see some stuff on stuff like Instagram, stuff like that, and I see some comments, and I think, you talk through your arse, pal. It's good language. Because that bloke's enjoyed doing it, and just because he hadn't built up the skills yet to do that, and you never will if they get knocked back down. And as long as you're happy, I mean, I get shown a lot of work, what people have done with woodwork and that lot of work. Everybody shows me what they've done, and so it's quite good for the first time. Some you could tell it's the first time they've done anything. And it's generally young lads who've got the first house and they can't afford a bin stand or can't afford a garden gate, and they've knocked one together. And it's sometimes what they've done is probably better in the bin than surrounding bin. But it doesn't really matter. They've enjoyed it. Someone's going, wow, what tools do I need? What tools do I need? What tools do I need? And just a sharp saw. Don't worry about getting electric saws until you've worked out how to use a sharp saw. And all styles I bought apart from those I were bequeathed, are only £5-6 ones from B&Q. These throwaway ones. I'd love an expensive saw, but I can't warrant paying it out. So like I say, I mean, as long as you're not trying to convince yourself or yourself that you're the next best thing on YouTube or whatever, as long as you're aware of if you can only do things to my level, which is very very high, and if you go on YouTube for your next best thing, you're never gonna build that ability and become that better worker. And the one thing I love seeing on Instagram is people's journeys, what they've took.
Yeah.
And there is that many journeys what are just fantastic. What people and they see them from watching other people, and they'll take this journey, they'll move it flow, and they'll build up, and those own skills then become as good as the mentors, what they're trying to aspire to. We call them YouTube mentors, even though they've probably never met these people. And it's do love to see that journey of people. It's what you call it. It's
it's really satisfying. I mean, I'm thinking. I mean, you're talking about sort of journey. I'm not thinking so much as in terms of work. Although actually, I think that probably so. Take something like Keith Brown, Rag and Bone Brown. I started watching him years ago, and he was working out of a very small workshop. Again, pretty much a pallet shed type workshop. Absolutely rammed in. He, if you look at kind of his work then, he was producing some good stuff. Considering his experience levels. His videos, he struggled. I mean, he admits, he struggled to talk.
They were very
monotone.
It was very
not
auto.
Relaxed. He wrote a script, and even with the script, he struggled.
Yeah.
And you look at the work he's doing now. I mean, the level of his work and knowledge has improved massively, and he is so much more relaxed with the kind of sort of video side of things. He doesn't script in the same way. He's much more relaxed. It's much easier to watch. But just seeing that journey over the last 6 years or so, going from being a very small channel to now, a decent sized channel where he's now, he is just, that's what he does. He's a professional YouTuber. And it's just fantastic. But and actually sort of seeing that documentation of the improvement in skills, both as a content creator but as a woodworker.
It's I'm just answering Jamie. It's what you call it. You can name. I mean, I've there's a little lady in there, Valerie. I mean, a lot of Valerie's disabilities are pretty. She really struggles with pain, hands and enough pain. She uses wheelchair, going around crutches in the house, and her journey itself to what she started doing to what she's doing now, even though it takes her 10 times longer than it takes everybody else because of disabilities, the journey she's got as to herself is just fantastic. I mean, and I'm looking at these people in chat, and it's my friends, to be honest with you. You can see a journey in every person in this chat. You can see their journeys of self of what they were first doing, and to be honest, I think that's more impressive, the journey, than what is the end product. I've got 2 children, both of them no interest whatsoever in woodwork and anything. I mean, my youngest is if I offered him stuff and he didn't, no, I don't want it, but Dad, it just makes my house look untidy. Is saying that I made a little alien. I had an alien resin head given me from flat. It were from Wendy at Toonpage. And what do you do with this? I turned it into a lidded box with a little UFO on top. And the minute I saw it outside, it disappeared to his house. And it's what you call it. And And chopping boards, more chopping boards I make, more I could give away. And it's what you call it. Valerie can't make chopping boards, but she does do. In fact, you've got one, and
I have.
Valerie's breadboard, what she made in turned-up lathe, and she can do stuff like that. But I say journeys is. I just do think it's more impressive to see if you go back, you can go and look at any of your makers, what you follow, and you go back to the old stuff. You can see a journey. Some people's journey is rapid.
Yeah.
It's rather more talented, or they've got more time than others. And but like I say, it's irrelevant how fast somebody's journey is, as long as it is a journey, and as long as they're enjoying it. I mean, I do see I do see a trend where somebody will make something, then everybody else makes it after, and I mean, I will never ever make a gong. That's me. If anybody else wants me to turn a gong, no chance. It is what you call it. But and I don't tend to follow trends. Reason being, one, I get bored easily, and two, I'm always wary of not making it as good as everybody else has. If I made a gong, I'd end up making only clean-shaven gong there is, because I'll not be able to get beer to stick to it. That's, I mean, but again, I don't follow current trends, and nobody takes a trend off me because I don't make no good. What I make is not good enough to follow. But it's not that. It's what you call it. But if that's all you're happy doing is following trends and doing best you can, who gives a toss? Who gives a damn?
Yeah.
I mean, just go out there and get in that workshop and enjoy yourself. There's no point in stressing yourself about going to workshop.
Yeah.
Because once it becomes a chore to go in that workshop, you'll never get in. You'll never get in. And sometimes it is a chore for me if I'm making something to sell for somebody in particular, and that lot is, I don't really want to do this. I want to go and play. It's like a kiddie. Does he want to do his own work, or does he want to play? Go out and play with his mates. That's me. I
think that's all of us to a degree.
Yeah. Do I have to do this chopping board? I've got to, and then I thought, no, I'm going to play instead. And then I'm trying to finish this chopping board off while somebody's got the meat in the oven waiting for the dinner.
Yeah.
got to finish this quick before the drink's finished. No, it's me. I'm selfish. I do what I want to do, and but I've also get myself in a bit of a tangle sometimes, because I can sit here and think, right, I'm going down to the workshop, I'm going to do so and so and so and so. By the time I unlock door, because there's that many locks on it, by the time I've unlocked doors, I've changed my mind 3 times, and it makes it totally different. Because I go, oh, that looks all right. And but again, it's I do enjoy making things for people, I must admit. I think out of everything I do, my best stuff is the stuff I make for people, because if you put love in an item, I do believe it comes out for end product.
Yeah.
I do believe the best thing I have ever made is the Mr. Bump I made for Scott Turner. It's no secret. Scott has a lot of accidents, and I think that's why he trained to work on ambulances so he can look after himself. He has a lot of, and so I made this Mr. Bump. It was totally wood turned, and I would turn the hand to a clump and then dremeled it to a shape, and then I I made a little toolbox, and all the little tools in it are wood turned and then shaped. The flat bits put on with Dremel and sanding, and the thumb, the hand is like that. The thumb's separate, fastened in again. The thumb was wood turned and added in, and but all these tools fit in his hand, in his other hand, not that way around, and fit in his hand. So he, depending on what Scott's hurt himself on this week, he could change his tool, and I know. Yeah, be cursing me because I'll be getting private messages in a bit. Yeah, I've got this. I've just seen on a chat group. I mean, Wayne's operating a keyboard under the chair with his feet, so it's less than it looks. Yeah, it's. I made the pizza oven what I made for Wayne Claspers. That I've really enjoyed it. Again, if you that's me all over. If I'm making something for a particular person, I do tend to put more. I want some more effort in it. I put more love into something, and I really, really, really enjoy making something for a particular person. But I have to be right mindset. This house is just full of things what people have made for Valerie. Some wonderful things from people, and. There's a lot of stuff from Jamie up here. There's sneaks. One of my favourite were made for me. See, you might appreciate that one there. That were Andy Hill made me that. It were on the Secret Santa, Andy, what we were in.
Yeah.
Remember Andy Hill made me that. It's an Amarora Scroso project, and I loved that much. I actually had a T-shirt made with it on.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Nice.
And I wear a T-shirt. Some of the stuff on here is my own. This is, we've got stuff from America. Tyler made for us, Artisan Pirate. I've got Andy's Stargate down there, and honestly, I've got a wonderful octopus from Sneaks, what he made for Valerie, and one of Dale's Captain Pugbush we made for Valerie in there. It's a house full of stuff for made by makers for us and for Valerie.
I think it's something that people maybe outside of the community don't necessarily. They may be involved in kind of making. They may be makers, but perhaps not so much involved in the community side of things. Don't necessarily kind of appreciate. Because I've got, I mean, just sort of looking behind me, I've got, a piece of artwork from Rasmus. I've got a bunch of things that, egg from Jamie, a bunch of other things up there. I've got another couple of things kind of on the wall there, and a few other things just sort of around and about. And it's just nice sometimes just to be able to kind of I like having the stuff out on my desk and being able to just kind of look at it and kind of go, yeah. I like that. Somebody gave me that. They put, like you say, they put care and love into it, and I think you can certainly tell the difference when somebody has made something. I mean, I've been involved with the Fools for Tools treasure trade, and you can sort of tell when somebody's kind of gone, right, I'm going to look at the information that Andy supplied about the things he's interested in. I'm going to give that some real good thought. And now I'm going to put some time and effort into producing something that he's going to appreciate. And that shines through.
Totally agree. Oh, totally agree. I mean, Valerie's got here it all started with Valerie wanting to make stuff for her cabinet because I don't know, some of you might know, some don't. Valerie had cancer. And it was the same cancer what killed her mum, and then it was stage 3 breast cancer. It's 9 years clear now. It's wonderful. So she wanted stuff made by people only and made by people as a I Beat Cancer cabinet, and this I Beat cabinet cancer is chock-a-block. I've got stuff above it on another part, and the rest of this room is full of it. I wasn't supposed to be having any of our own stuff in here, but some of the stuff what people have made for us have gone into the other room, and I've got stuff what I've made on this back wall behind me. That's it. She didn't really want my stuff in here because it's not as good as everybody else's. That there, that is my. It's a French cafe scene I did for a wall art challenge. Only I've not put it on wall. I've not put it on wall. It does fit on wall. I put all the hooks on it. So I weren't cheating, but I didn't put it on wall. And I must admit, my best piece of art is the painting there. That is Leeds Art Gallery have got a smaller piece of it, a smaller one similar to it. It's about that big with that. And that was supposed to be on TV on Alan Bennett's 10 favourite paintings. So I got everybody who I worked with. I got Bill's outside. I got everybody who I worked with. Watch it. This painting's going to be on blah blah blah. This small in Leeds Art Gallery, and they cut programme to 7 best, and it didn't make our gutted. That it's actually my mum, and the artist made me this one. And Leeds Art Gallery was supposed to have been. They were going to make me a copy of the one they've got. And like I say, it's about A4 size, the one that they've got. And they never got around to it. Oh, he's too busy. No, he's too busy. And then the artist made me that one. So I told them about it. They wanted a copy. I said, no chance. And I don't know what to do with it when I go. I don't know whether one of my lads will want it. If they don't, they probably will. They'll probably argue. I'll bequeath it to Sheffield Art Gallery because the artist in particular used to do a lot of paintings. The one in Leeds Art Gallery is on the Arts UK site. He did an entire wall of paintings of my family because it was mum's friend's son who needed a studio to work with. And we were very, very poor family. We had no money whatsoever. And my mum says, you can use our back room if you put coal in fire to help heaters up room. So he used that for quite a few years. And that's why he did that. It is set up back for everything that my mum did for him as an artist. And I think that's one of the things. I'm no good. I can't draw for toffee. But it's one of the things what did set me onto this thing of art. And then what's evolved with me with artwork is I never made anything out of wood unless it were functional. I didn't see point. I had no idea why I make something. I've got these shields on wall there were made. I made those. I'd have never made them 10 years ago because they're not functional. They're a waste of space. Unless it's a functional item, like a bowl where I can put something in, no good to me. And one of my turning points, I had quite a few, but one of my turning points was watching Mr. Clasper first time. And that was one of the turning points, amongst others, of doing artistic bits, because I never thought myself as an artist, just a woodworker who can make sheds, pergolas, garages, you name it, and gates, fences. And due to a bad back, I can't do that sort of stuff anymore. And in fact, stuff I get smaller and smaller these days.
It's smaller, it's
started
lighter.
Becoming, I started doing artist stuff, what considers more artwork than functional items. I still do like to make functional items, your chopping boards, your serviette holders and stuff like that.
JP's just pointed out, a shield is functional. Yeah, it can protect you from Valerie hitting you.
Is what you call it. Yeah, probably that. And it's Wayne's in there. It's yeah, it's. I think the artist has only come out of it past 2-3 years. Maybe 3 years or so. That's it. Artists, obviously, I'm never going to be. I think artist is you don't have to be Da Vinci to be an artist. You don't have to be Rembrandt to be an artist. To me, you just have to make some. You can make functional items and be quite a good artist. So the pottery works and stuff like that. Yeah, functional items. You can be a great artist. And I think it's a very loose term, artist, and I can't think of a proper description I'd like to give it.
That's a problem. We had an entire episode just trying to talk about art and craft and stuff. I mean, we didn't really come to an answer. And I think there's an element of if you make stuff and you enjoy making stuff, and other people, I don't even know if other people need to enjoy it. Things can be functional, and I think art. I think we're almost trained. I think possibly it's a school thing. I don't know. But we're almost trained to think that art is just the kind of oils on canvas, or maybe acrylic on canvas, or watercolor on canvas.
It can be a version of snobbery. It can be a version of snobbery again.
Absolutely,
yeah. There's a lot of art snobbery.
Yes.
A lot of art snobbery.
Which is a real irony, because it's one of the first things we are as kids, as young people. Being creative, learning how, what bit of our face feels different when we prod it with our fingers, or, like we've got two colours of food and we start mashing them about on our plate. We're artists then, before we can even speak. And then it suddenly becomes...
It's drummed out of us. It's drummed out of us.
Yeah, it is. I mean, one of my favourite actual painters is the one what... a lot of art snobs don't like, which is L.S. Lowry.
Yeah.
I love that naive art. I love that stuff. And yet it is frowned upon in certain areas of the art critics, and rubbish. Stop being a snobby git. And it's same as that. I mean, chocolate box art is another thing. The amount of snobbery about chocolate box art and it's fantastic stuff. If I could do that, I'd be dancing. I'd be loving it. But it's like I say, just sheer snobbery over it. It's and I find it bizarre. I do find snobbery over art or anything. As I said before, it's just it's snobbery, and it can verge on bullying. It can verge on bullying.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lady in it's what you call it. There's a lady in on Instagram, and she come out of a couple of groups because she asked wood turning groups. She asked a simple question, and she was ridiculed for asking this question. And I think
that sort of elitism is not useful to anyone, is it?
Yeah. Why should this woman come out of this group when the people who ridiculed her should be thrown out of the group? And I'm not saying name. I mean, it's not well known, but it's still wrong. I can't abide it. It's like I say, it's verging on bullying, and
it is. I mean, I left a Facebook woodworking group. I won't say which one, but I left it last month, 5 weeks ago maybe, because I just got fed up of seeing. Yes, there was some great work being shown, and there was some people, and there was appreciation for some of that good work. But sometimes the criticisms and the complaints that were going in about things you'd get somebody maybe trying to do something, and they weren't necessarily doing it the right way because they didn't know, because they were trying to learn something, and then they would just get kind of pulled apart by some people, and then other people would be trying to support them and start saying, try doing it this way because this would be safer, and then other people would be kind of having a go at those people because they were trying to suggest safer ways of doing things based on I've done it that way for 40 years and I've still got all my fingers just. It's just like,
he doesn't help telling anybody it's fantastic with this pile of rubbish either, and but just say nice work. You don't have to say it's absolutely fantastic but again, I mean, constructive criticism given can be okay, but if it's put across wrongly, it is that bullying, it is that snobbery, it is that nastiness. I remember, again, like I said, I had somebody on about, as I was telling you about, the goblet I made out of pallet wood with two tools only, because somebody was saying you have to buy best of everything. Rubbish, you don't have to. And again, I once put on Instagram about something I made, and somebody did say that's rubbish. That's not pallet wood. That's never pallet wood. So I just sent it build photos with all pallets piled on my decking, what I stripped to make it. And he retracts his thing. I've never heard from him again. And some of us can make good things out of pallets. And it's what you call it. But again, it's somebody challenging me for not unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Unnecessarily.
This is what's kind of popped into my head so far with kind of the discussion on turning tools and that kind of elitism there. I'd love to see someone take on the challenge of settling the debate of traditional versus carbide and just grabbing a spoon, sharpening the spoon, and then using that to turn something. I think that would be a wonderful way of just going, look, sod the lot of you. If it works, it works.
Well, I wanted to do an experiment with carbides, but I daren't pinch Valerie's, and to prove that I can do the miniature stuff I can do anything. And it's again, and the amount of people have told me past that they've used Allen keys and would turn with them. I've got one of Yuval's little miniature skills he took to make essential, and I want to turn something with that, a miniature thing. I might even do it on this current project I've got, because I've got quite a lot of wood turning to doing that, miniature woodworking, and that's it. And I mean, I hear a lot of stories from other makers that they've made a so and so out of so and so, and make life easier for themselves. And let's face it, virtually all first tools were battered, and things what come out of they needed something, so they made it to fit, and then commercialism's gone in this way. And imagine, obviously modern society don't do that, but a lot of modern tools have been based on somebody's homemade what you describe now as rubbish. But he did a job. I mean, I did see what first chisels looked like, and probably like some of mine weren't really that long.
You take things like router planes and I've seen some really definitely homemade sort of router planes, just because somebody wants a particular mold shape.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain there's a Paul Sellers video on making one with a chisel and a couple of blocks of wood.
I mean, it were a common thing when these tools were in the neighbourhood. It were a common thing then. You made your own toolbox and you had to make some of your own tools.
Yeah.
And especially your router planes and stuff. I mean, you had to make them yourself. They couldn't afford them, and these companies weren't making them very much commercially because there were no money. Because all decent carpenters made their own. and now you just buy a router. It's easier. I've got a lot of router planes, but I keep meaning to put on a wall somewhere, but I've got to find a wall first.
I mean, that goes back to the kind of you can make something with a molding plane or a router plane. Yeah, you can do that by hand with a tool that you potentially even made yourself. But yeah, then you can also buy the machine now that will do it a lot quicker.
Oh yeah,
less effort on one's part. I mean, ripping down a piece of timber with a handsaw is horrible, and I never have to do it again.
And I've done it railway sleepers, cut lengthways with an handsaw. Try that. I was younger and fitter then. And circless only went that far in, and then I burnt it out. So handsaw come out, and handsaw were never any good again. And sprayed more WD-40 on handsaw to try and get it through. And thankfully, it weren't some of the heavier, more denser woods. The railway sleepers we got were ex-railway ones, and so obviously everything stunk of creosote, including me. And but you could tell which ones I was going to cut because some of them weighed about 3/4 ton. They were really heavy, and others I could have put them on my shoulder and gone jogging with. No, not jogging, walking a bit faster, and walking a little bit faster with them. And again, sewing it down, it were horrendous. But I only needed half of it. And again, I mean that went because I couldn't afford tools. I couldn't afford tools. It's what you call it. I've got a lovely set of tools now, and I like them. My nephew's birthday coming up, and he wants tools, and he's got all he's got is a kit with an hammer in, it's got a wood saw, an hammer, and a few screwdrivers in. So I'll get him his tools, and I've already told him I'll make his son, his 18-month-old. I'm going to make him his first tool set. I'll make it myself, and I'll enjoy doing that. And again, I mean, my nephew can't. He's got a young family. He can't afford to buy tools. What he might use once every 6 months, if that. He can't afford it. We're going to buy him circular saw, but my wife says you can't because he'll lose his fingers and it'll be my fault. I've compromised. He's getting a jigsaw.
I was about to say jigsaw's probably. Well, it's not any better. There's more scope to misuse it, perhaps.
I think jigsaw's probably a better tool for him anyway because
I think a jigsaw will take one finger in the same time that a circular saw will take all of them. I think
it's risk mitigation, then, isn't it?
You're gonna stop a bit quicker with a jigsaw.
Then again, if you're being tortured with your fingers cut off, I think I'd sooner have circular saw than jigsaw. You got to think on, but no, every tool's got its place. No, I think if it's a circular saw job, I think you're probably asking, you're probably phoning me up anyway. So it's Wayne, can you do this? And it's and his dad is not allowed near any tools. He's useless. My older brother, he's only got 9.5 fingers. He when he was 17, he was obviously growing up in early 80s, being adults in early 80s when there was no work. He had to go. He lost his job, and he ended up going to a retraining centre. And he used to catch a train from Sheffield to Leicester every day. And he was on an overhead drill, and they were changing gears as you do up here, blah blah blah. And this instructor come around with a group of trainees, and he says, "Whatever you do when anybody's working on that, you never do this and switch the effing machine on." Biggin's hand went straight through it, lost his finger. And he's absolutely terrified of any drills or out. He's absolutely terrified. He's subsequently had to have operations further down and to take more of his finger off. And I'd have punched him with my good hand, this guy. He's,
Yeah.
yeah, and I knocked him out with my good hand. And he's like I say, again, he's terrified, so he can't do anything for my nephew. He won't even, yeah, my brother, if my brother had the jigsaw, he would be one with jigsaw, not plugged in and going like that. He's, yeah, he probably won't even realise it's got to be plugged in. He's not, if he gets a screwdriver, you've got to tell him which end to use. And, yeah, he's not. I mean, you can't believe that we both got same parents, to be honest. And it's again, there's no snobbery about our Lee with his tools because I don't think he's actually got a screwdriver or an hammer. He's got a couple of DeWalt drills. What he found on his doorstep one day, and obviously being broken into, he took it to the police and that a lot. And after a year or whatever time it were, they sent him in, get him in, and said, "Look, you can have them. We don't know who they are. You can have them." So he's got them. I don't think they're plugged in. I don't even think. Yeah, I'm not even sure what batteries are. I think it's one of the. You've had them that long now. I think the battery's probably heavier than the drill. It's. Yeah, he's probably never charged them. Probably don't even know you need to charge them. Probably the battery probably ran out, and he probably thought it was broke. And
Did they come with the Did they come with the charger on the doorstep?
I can't remember. A long time ago, I can't remember. And is what you call it. No, he's not the most competent, but yeah, I think he's probably got the same ability as me. Only I try harder. So
you didn't have an instructor at a training centre cut one of your fingers off.
No, I weren't the person you crossed to do that when I was younger, and it were nice. My first drill, that's it. We grew very, very poor childhood, really poor. I mean, that's outside toilets. No, I didn't live in a house with hot running water till I was 15. And my bedroom at one stage, if you went wardrobe, you could see onto the street through all the wall. But my mum used to create for us, and she used to save up. As you remember, you used to go to club, not club. You go down to the shop and put it on club, and so she's paying every week, so like 25 pence a week or whatever. And she bought me a drill, a little plastic drill, but it could only drill through balsa wood and polystyrene. And I must have been about 7, maybe 8 years old. And I loved it. And that battery ran out. We couldn't afford a new battery. It was the old square batteries with 2 pins on top. The ones about, probably about 3 inch by 3 inch. So we couldn't afford a new battery, so it went back wayside for a bit. I was gutted. And they don't work. Yeah.
Was it the flat square batteries, the 4.5 volt?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we couldn't afford them. And then I started building tools as a kid. I used to, I'm saying that, I used to strip hoovers down and repair them. And for when I was about 13, 14 years old. And I used to strip them all down. And then I used to have, for my friends and that, like most of them, they weren't really much to repair. It would just clog some weird system, generally matchsticks or in some cases a sock. And I'd strip them down. And I actually invented the world's first lightweight hoover because by the time I sent them back, I got that many parts still missing on floor. It must have been a lot lighter when they got me back. And then I built up that. I started working up with a few tools and that. I'd buy a couple of tools, and I got given ball peen hammer from. I used to take papers. Imagine doing this these days. I used to take papers. Just walk nearly a mile down Bramall Lane to what Sheffield Centre, where all factories were. And I actually used to go into a factory, Sheffield store, and there'd be blokes stood there. And also for the safety, I'd have a field day these days. And he'd be stood there with a tin telling me how many stores, how many papers. Sheffield store were 8p then. And he used to tell her how many papers he wanted. And I used to give him, and he used to give me money. And I used to 100 odd papers, I used to take down there. But they gave me my first me ball hammer. Gave me one of them from factory. So I've had it over 40 years. No idea how old it were before then. And that was my first hammer I got. And I built up and I bought a drill. I bought a proper drill. And then my next drill, when that broke down, I bought my next drill, and it was at somebody's club. So I could pay weekly for it. And the Valerie decided she'd like to go with this drill. Well, this project I'll make, it was a garden gate for my mum. It looked like it got woodworm. Because Valerie's just drilling holes everywhere. Yeah, just drilling. This is good, isn't it? This is good. Yeah, it didn't need any gaps in it for wind to get through. It just went through these holes, what Valerie did. And it's what you call it. And then, like I say, I slowly built up tools. And I remember my first saw, I bought I was about 14, and I bought a little tenon saw. And we used to keep them on cellar head. You couldn't put it down at the cellar. It was too damp and it was too dark. Keep it on cellar. Well, it was damp anyway. Inside the house was damp with holes in walls and ceiling and that lot. So cellar head were even damper. And I kept saying, it started going rusty. So I thought, what am I going to use to stop it going rusty? I know. Washing up liquid, that's exactly the same as oil in it, because it's like same viscosity, yeah. So I put it on. Well, that went rusty pretty quick. It went rusty pretty quick, that one. And I still had it. I cleaned it all up. I still had it up to about 10, 15 years ago. Blunt as hell. Been about turning it upside down and use it top by and what you call it. And like I say, I've slowly built up tools all these years. And if somebody had told me all those years ago that what I was doing were absolute crap, absolute rubbish, you can do it this, do it that, I'd have given up. I mean, so I wouldn't have become what I do now. What I do now, like I say, I would not have the enjoyment what I get now out of stuff. And making stuff, and I think what a life would have been wasted, a lot of enjoyment, and that's what you shouldn't do these days to people. You shouldn't demoralise somebody just because you could make it better than they can, and you've got better tools than what they've got. Rubbish, absolute rubbish. If that's all you can afford, you'll do it. If you enjoy it, pal, you'll get on with it. You'll get in that workshop. You enjoy it. I mean, I've got 2 workshops, one's 12x8, one's 10x7. They're not big enough. I'm building a bigger one, but I'm keeping the 12x8. And but again, it's not big enough. I'd love a bigger one. I've seen other people's got better ones, bigger workshops than me, but I've got a lot bigger workshops than a lot of people. Some people have got 8x6s, some people have got 6x4 sheds. Somebody who are following Sheffield, he's up to recently, all he had were a gazebo. So if it were a garden, so if it were windy, he couldn't do any woodwork because his gazebo blew away. So all he could do is put that up to protect him from elements, and that's all he had as a workshop. So, like I say, so whatever you've got, you've probably got. There's somebody got less than you, and again. Others have got a lot more than I have, and some people have got a lot less than me, but a lot more talent than I'll ever have in a million years. And it's, so like I say, it's, I shouldn't be snobby to somebody who's got just 2 hammers in a store and and a screwdriver that uses a chisel, and he does it in he has to do it in gardens. He's got no workshop. I mean, what am I to judge anybody? I know are any of us to judge anybody. As long as that person enjoys what he's doing, that's the always trying to get across. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. And all the best woodworkers, artists enjoyed it at some time. They might, if they do it for a living, they're probably sick at starting it now, but they all enjoyed it sometime, otherwise they wouldn't have started. And if they'd have been demoralised, we wouldn't have had the evolution of tools what we've got now.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had companies. We wouldn't have had companies like Robert Sorbet, what are going on after all these 100 years plus, and Crown Tools again, Hamlet Tools, and naming all Sheffield firms. Hear that? Understand that? All Sheffield firms. Yeah.
Favoritism.
And it's what you call it. We wouldn't have had, because if people were demoralised and not wanted, these companies wouldn't have been able to sink the money into it. You're allowed these good tools because people were to buy these good tools because people wasn't demoralised and they've got on with it and they've enjoyed it. And the making community can be very good at that, at helping push people and encouraging people. It's just one or two. Then again, the odd one or two bad eggs are not generally part of the community as such. They're just in a group. They're not part of the community. They're not the ones who go to shows and go to this and go on groups like this, or go on, or get invited twice to a group chat or something like that. It's not generally them sort of people.
Yeah.
And it's what you call it. That's it. I'm just going to get across. Just enjoy it. Don't let anybody demoralise you. And anybody who does demoralise people, ignore them. Throw them out of your group. And that's my snobbery there. And I mean, listen, I must admit, I am a bit of snob. 3D printer, right? I will never, ever be making Kinder Surprise toys on that. I got a 3D printer to make tools for workshop.
Yeah.
Dale's going to be tapping Gridfinity now in a minute. And is what you call it. I see Yui's in. Hi, Yui. Hi, Mark. Hi, Donna. These are what I've been making. Sander blocks.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That is.
Yeah,
I've had to tweak design a bit and to make it. And I did find one part were easier to just sand a bit off it than try and adjust it to fit. And but these are great. Take a tweak thing. I've got a bloody box full there. I've just been playing and making them. But that's the sort of fish I want. That's the stuff I want to make. Functional items for that. It's a tool. It's
great for doing jigs for things. I use it for that kind of stuff all the time.
Well, we had
like little sorting pads for tools and things like that.
Yeah,
so handy for that stuff.
Oh, good lord! Yeah, Vale's got them all up there. What she uses for her crack cut stuff, what she made, and we've actually got some at work. But one of the guys were really up into 3D printing and that, and he made some jigs for part marking some parts at work because nothing we could buy was good enough. But bear in mind, I work at a part of a high-class engineering firm what makes parts for planes, and we can't get a proper jig to make these parts not to make the parts, to part mark these parts. So he just made it on 3D printer.
Yeah.
And they weigh a kilo each. You use a full roll on each one.
Ooh.
But they weren't perfect.
Yeah.
And this is what you call. So to me, the 3D printer is another tool. And it's what you call it. And sometimes I must admit, when it's not running, I do start looking around for things that I could make with it. But like I say, it's not to make Kinder Surprise toys. That's all you want to do as a hobby. Do it.
And that's the beauty of kind of making. I think particularly nowadays, probably more than maybe 50 years ago, when people tended to make predominantly for function. There were obviously people making for art, but I think that the number of people now that make for enjoyment, I think, has probably gone up exponentially. And the availability of a variety of different mediums by which they can make has gone up even more. Yeah, because there are people. Yeah, I've talked about my brother-in-law in the past. Yeah, he built a 3D printer just because he wanted to build a 3D printer. He's an engineer. He likes to engineer, come up with solutions to problems. So I'm going to make a giant 3D printer, and so that's what
we've got a Duncan for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and he kind of he wasn't interested in 3D printing per se. He's more interested in making the 3D printer. But then there are other people who will go, I'm not interested in putting together a kit from Prusa or whoever. I will buy something, take it out of the box, do up a couple of screws, plug in a couple of cables, and press go. And I want that to do because I am interested in making these little figures and the like.
Yeah, I work with a guy and he's got resin. I've got a resin printer as well, but that was both entirely different. But he's got a resin printer, a large one, and he designs his own STL files for it to make his generally superhero figures and that sort of stuff. He makes, and he has a lot of people asking for his files and stuff like that, and he's only now started being able to sell them. Before he thought it were a bit wrong to sell his files, and well, you took all them hours to make it.
Yeah.
And it's up to you, pal. It's your file. You sell it or give it away. And we start selling them now. And somebody's asked him to make a large figure and sell it figure he wants. But I asked him, who owns the file though? Are you going to give this guy the rights to the file? And he says, no, the guy's told him he can have the file. But as long as he don't sell it in the first 12 months. And the mate can live with that. So he's getting a good sum for this figure this guy's asking him to make. And again, it's he actually gets the enjoyment for making the file and not making the product at the end. But the amount of products he makes to perfect the files is astronomical. But again, it's another degree of enjoyment out of his maker hobby. And he doesn't even look at himself as a maker. He's just somebody who just makes these files, and what else do you do with them? You make them. It's but he can't comprehend what I do. It's same as what he does, just a different format. It's same as somebody who we know does. She's on Instagram. She's a baker. She's took a lot of convincing that her baking is making. What she does is baking. Is making, and
absolutely,
it took a lot for us to comprehend that. And it's not like just cooking chips and fish fingers for tea. I mean, that's not making, that's necessity. But once you start concocting and getting your ingredients and making something proper, again, to me, it is a.
Well, that's what I've kind of said from the start. Is if you go into the kitchen and decide to make yourself a sandwich, you choosing ingredients for what to put on the sandwich and putting that together, you're a maker. Second you're deciding on what you're doing, and
it's what you call it. I mean, going back to snobbery and that, Valerie before just put it about a fantastic cook. I mean, you could tell. I mean, just look at me. And we used to have some friends many years ago. We'd eat in their house, they eat in ours, and Valerie would make this meal, and she'd try and replicate it. Chalk and cheese. Yeah, if you went to a barbecue, what she'd done, you'd soon eat coals. You see the charcoal at bottom. It's probably, and it was so funny. But the lass was just so proud of what she'd done, and it's what you call it. And I remember Valerie's sister. She's 11 years younger than Valerie, but I remember she was at school. I mean, she made some jam tarts, and they were awful. They were awful. Pastry must have been about an inch thick. And we half a teaspoon of jam in each one. It looked more like an attempt at a jammy dodger as opposed to a jam tart. And but she was so proud of it last word. And so again, I mean, for them, you can't demoralise somebody because they made world's worst jam tart. I mean, Mr. Kipling's have been doing it for years. And that's me.
Was that old Einstein quote about something like judging a fish on its ability to climb a tree or something like that?
Yeah.
We've all got our own niche. We don't have to all be as good as everyone else at everything else that we look at.
I know. I mean, Valerie makes best shortbread on this planet, but it's what you call it. Honestly, there's a reason why I've got all these tools. Is because if I make shortbread, I need them to get through it.
So you got so many hammers.
Valerie makes the best shortbread on planet. It's what you call it. It's fantastic, as most that makers will attest, except probably Jamie. He'll probably remark if he's still in chat. Probably it's a bit with his own. No, he's what you call it. Again, it's another form of making, and you can't demoralise a kid. I remember many years ago, my youngest had made I can't remember what it was. He made this little, I can only describe it as a diorama. I'm talking 7 or 8 year old, and he made some. And I can't remember what it was. And he showed it me, and me without thinking for a second, pointed out to a spelling mistake he'd made on it. He was so upset, and Valerie was. He was so upset, and Valerie was, let's just say, not very polite and not very happy with me. I think that's all you can say. And to this day, I realised I was really, really wrong, and I just didn't think. So I didn't actually.
I think we've all done it though.
Yeah, and I mean, I hate spelling mistakes. I can't spell on a computer. If I type out, I'm useless at it. But spelling mistakes, I spot them a mile away. I hate them. And I remember many years ago, I'm going down wrong. Many years ago, my oldest lad, he finished his entire year's maths by Christmas, and they never gave him, because they were going to seniors next year, the year after, they never gave him any extra work. What could you challenge him? And I was furious over this. So he ended up helping teach other kids maths, showing them what they were doing. It's just busy. Read his story to nursery for a year old, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, and I was furious that my son was going to spend the best part of 6 months teaching, helping other kids with the maths and not learning himself. And it come to his school report, and all his teachers put on it was complaining about the state of his handwriting. I mean, his handwriting's like mine. My mum once got on a school report, don't know if Wayne's done well in English this year. I couldn't read his writing. And you're a different world then. Anyhow, and I was furious.
How long have you been a doctor?
No, I was furious about this, and I'd been laughing her head off as she sees this in the room. So I got this school report. I got a red pen and circled up, corrected all spelling mistakes this teacher had done and sent it back. She didn't speak for me for the next 2 years. When youngish, she wouldn't speak to me at all. Like I say again. I mean, if Stephen would have, I used to let my kids read the school reports, and I do believe it does help them. And Stephen, he's done that well, and not to be, he's done that well all year, and yet never been complimented on it. For him to just rag him about all his handwriting, that's like building Notre Dame out of matchsticks, and somebody saying you've left red end on that matchstick down the in that corner, and it's demoralising. Again, it's people need nurturing. We all need nurturing. It doesn't matter whether you're 12-year-old or in your late 50s. And there's a lot of people here in making community who's done making for donkey's years. And yet the pandemic will show you this. There's a lot of people in the 50s and 60s and going into the 70s are discovering hobbies, are only just starting on the maker world. And people looking at this middle-aged guy and think, well, that's not very good looking at his age, but stuff he's only just starting. Nurture. It doesn't matter whether someone's 12-year-olds or 112. Nurture them. Nurture everybody. The maker community on the whole is very good at that. I've got some very, very good friends in maker community, and I'd say a lot of them's in this chat now. I've seen a lot of jokes pointed at me, and it's what you call it. And they're all these people are all the same. They all help nurture and not hinder. And there's people here in this chat, and as amongst a lot of people on Make Community, who, Matt, never have heard of you, never seen you, but in there, if you're on Instagram, whatever, you ask them a question, they'll help you as much as they can.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just the few bad eggs what take time to be a snob or bully.
Yeah.
And you're never going to get rid of them. It's a shame we can't. We can't put them all on a desert island somewhere, but it ain't going to happen. We've just got to make sure by nurturing people that they benefit more than they get knocked back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Drown them out with kindness.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking of things there on desert islands. I must admit, I do measure people on desert islands. One of my measures of people. You want to try this in future? Everybody ought to. I measure people's worth by if we were on a desert island with them, would I throw them back at sea, or would I? And I mean, obviously, people who's elderly or really disabled are exempt, but people who are just complete knobheads, that'll be it. And can't do anything. If somebody can just go out and just find 2 sticks, they prove their worth on a desert island. It doesn't matter. If they can just build half a shelter bottle, probably keep you dry in a light rain shower. But they're worth keeping on a desert island. If they won't do anything and just complain about everything, from at sea, sharp bait, that'll do. And
as long as you can swim faster than them, you're fine.
I can't swim at all, so it don't make any difference. Yeah, I go when I go on holiday, I go snorkeling, but I can't swim. I can't swim. It's going to make you laugh here because people say it's called walking. I can only swim if I can stand up in water. Right? If it's any deeper than I can stand up, I panic. So
a fear of deep water is not unusual.
It's not irrational either.
Not irrational, yeah.
No, it's what you call it. And I'm only 5'10", so you don't have to be that deep. And it's what you call it. No, I'm gonna. Yeah, I thought I'd get that. Surely big feet would help me with swimming. I once went for some flippers. And I told him what size I was. This was in Italy. It's 49 in European, size 13, 14. And I just got a shack in my head. What do you need flippers for? And
spray your toes with a bit of rubber.
Yeah, it's what you call it. But I've really gone down the wrong way there. So I'm talking about making, talking about swimming, or lack of it, lack of ability to swim.
But
And
it's probably time to start thinking about attention grabber, because I know you've got to get up early in the morning for work.
yeah,
So it's probably time to sort of start thinking about sort of sharing sort of attention grabbers, the things that we've been watching, reading, making, doing. It doesn't really matter whether it's something just gone, something you're working towards, or whatever. So yeah, what's been grabbing your attention lately?
You broke up terribly then, pal. I couldn't hear a word.
Sorry. So what's been grabbing your attention?
I think I'm going back down. As you know, I flip from one thing to another constantly. And there's one particular diorama I really want to make, and it's a few of my friends know what it is, and I've kept it secret, and I've started it, and then lots of love for it. So I'm gonna get that. I can't say what it is too much, but at the moment I'm doing this diorama. That's part of it, and I'm doing a call it pirate ship, so you know type of. I'm doing a ship's cabin, and the dioramas I do are. I like to do as much as I can, wood turned. Just be different. I ain't got the skill to do the stuff like look tone and that lot of doing. I ain't got the patience, and then I flip from one thing to another too much. Concentrate on one thing. So I like to do something totally different. My first one I ever did were, you can't see it. It's I think it were on the clip. On the photo of what I sent you, it were Nart's tale. We did a glass jar. We were in Nart's room with little shields, little swords, table, fireplace. Everything on that's been wood turned. Even the sconces, the lance was wood turned. The sword was wood turned, then sanded to bit flat bits. That way you can get the pommel and everything perfect around. Nice. And I want to go and start doing more of that without neglecting the other stuff I do prefer. Because it's when they've got the big Laguna drum sander, it's useless on this sort of stuff. But I don't want to neglect the other stuff. I want to get more into hands-on work. I get arthritis in my hands a bit, but you've got to exercise your hands and that lot. So I want to do more of that while I've got the ability. I see Valerie struggle a lot with her hands, and if Valerie can do the stuff what she can do with her hands, I'm sure I can push myself and do it more. So I want to do more of that. Some of the stuff out there at the moment, I've seen a lot of the offset turning. Steve Twadell's fantastic. He's becoming fantastic at it now. And I do like that stuff, but I like to see other people do it. It's not something I really want to do. I value my knuckles. I've still got to go to work every day. I mean, I'd sooner have my knuckles still attached to my hands. I do enjoy seeing that. And you see more and more people are progressing as we were on the journey earlier, and we're seeing more and more people progressing down that journey of doing that sort of stuff. And again, that's another thing I really like to see, but I've got no intention of doing it at this moment. I might get bored one time and think, tell you what, I don't need these knuckles this week. I'll have a go. And I want to push myself like everybody else, but still being me, being true to what I do, true to myself. A good example of that is Sneaks, Clive. The stuff he does now is totally different to what he did at first, but it's still the same, if you know what I mean. It's totally different, but still the same. It's still pieced up stuff together. A slant on the stuff he's doing now is a slant on mosaic work and stuff. And again, his journey's been absolutely fantastic. He's got, and again, it's stuff like that I like seeing. And And the stuff where people are thinking outside the box, where people just get it right, and it's a bit like the helmet what Wayne Clasper did, wood-turned helmet. That's just fantastic. It's that sort of stuff really grabs me, and I don't watch many lives because I fall asleep a lot, and I only get about 4 hours sleep a night, so I do tend to fall asleep a lot while watching telly. Up to recently, I thought film were only 20 minutes long. Yeah,
I thought it was.
Yeah, we stopped going at cinemas years ago because, even at cinemas they asked me to keep noise down. Nobody else could hear. Okay, stop snoring. But again, it's no idea what it were then. Again, it's one of the things that I like seeing everybody's journey, and I like to watch a lot of stuff what I've got no intention of doing ever. One of the things I do want to buy is a metal lathe, but I only want a small one.
Yeah.
I ain't used a lathe since I was in engineering college. That were when I was 16. So I mean, over half my age ago.
And a bit.
Yeah, it's and a
Technically
lot.
true.
Yeah, it's 3 times plus fat. I mean, it's what you call it, and I want a little metal lathe, but it's not because I want to do metal work. It's because I want to enhance what I do already. So on a wood-turned part, wood-turned diorama, I'd like to do something what's turned with brass. I can do it on my lathe. I suppose I can do it on my lathe, but metal lathe's just an excuse to get another toy.
Yeah, and when you work at the workshop, you have the space for it. Yeah,
I've got a lot of tools what I bought for a particular job, and I've that my jackhammer. I bought it, so I dug up back, toilet up for a complete new system. So it were 50-odd year old, never been moved and all that, and so a lot of tools you do get like Traxor, brilliant, fantastic tools. But I couldn't want them when it's up a new kitchen in. Again, it's so I like to watch anything what allows me to buy a new tool. and the great thing about having a maker as a wife is you can buy her stuff for Christmas and use it yourself. It's brilliant.
Yep,
it's not like having a wife who's into makeup and that lot. It's great. And just.
I'm sure you share that too.
Probably not go out of the house. And is what you call it. But I bought Valerie a number 1 Oliver. That's tool she had last year. That mini one. And I bought her that, and I thought, ooh, I'll wait a few weeks. So illness has gone off it, and fair game. But I've always got to ask, because she always tells otherwise, because Valerie, you can tell workshops are differences, because Valerie's workshop side is pristine. All her carbides is taken out of the box, used, cleaned, wiped, put back in box and lid. Mine's just chucked outside to next time I go to workshop. Oh my. Yeah, it's what you call it. It's I did throw some tools out with sawdust once, and not with that. I went looking for a tool. Where is it? And I went, shit. And I went out to my fire pit, and it was in fire pit. Thankfully, I ain't lit it yet. We all sawdust. But yeah, attracting my attention. Yes. I love watching people like my mechanics, who does a lot of restorative work on mechanic and makes a lot of things. He's recently made a little wrench out of a nut. Got a nut, opened it up. That. It was brilliant. That was fantastic. I will never, ever be able to do it like that. Never. I mean, I needed to start when I was 3-year-old to learn that, get that skillful. But I love watching that sort of stuff. I'd love to have the skill, but I never will.
You never know. You get yourself a machine lathe, and then you
I
get
just ain't
yourself a
got enough
mill,
time.
and then you never know what'll
I need an 8-day weekend. That's what I need.
Yeah,
8-day weekend.
Could definitely do with that myself.
Yeah, I mean, I go shopping at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, so I've got all the day Saturday. And then, like an idiot, I volunteered to start working a few Saturdays at work. Thought, I volunteered to work a few, but my gaffer knows don't ask me though, unless he's desperate. Because he's politer than me telling him to do one. Yeah, so we've only got so much time, and so I love watching the dioramas being made. Even though the stuff I do is totally different to what everybody else does. Again, it's because I don't want to do what they do. I love seeing what people do. I don't want to do it. There's somebody who watch who does pottery. I think it's great, fantastic. Do I want to do it? No. I think a lot of makers do that. A lot of makers do like watching
definitely.
other aspects of maker world and that lot. And it's what you call it, and really enjoyable stuff. I mean, like model railways. Some of the best dioramas come from model railway community. And
certainly they've been doing it for decades.
My father-in-law does a lot of that stuff, and it's phenomenal.
It's evolved. I mean, 3D printing's helped it along modern way, but lollipop sticks probably helped it a lot better than 3D printing.
He's using laser cutter and making loads of like buildings and things for model railway stuff.
So I've got a laser cutter as well, but I don't use it that much. I must get on to be using it, but it's again, I need that 8-day weekend.
Yeah.
It's so I don't think my stuff will evolve that much unless I do get that 8-day weekend.
You never know.
Yeah, well, they were talking at work about us not working Fridays, but there were a catch. They wanted us to do 5 days work in 4 days without any extra hours. We can't do 5 days work in 6 days, so I mean it's never going to happen. And it's what you call it.
Wishful thinking.
But thankfully, I do have a half-day Friday. I do only half a shift.
Nice.
So I finish at 12:01, depending on which shift I'm on currently. And so that does help. Most of the time, it only just allows me enough time to go out and choose what I'm going to use for the next day.
It's sticking into the time on the weekend, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's it's one of the things. That's half the battle sometimes, working out what you're going to use. I sometimes see things like that, and straight away, wow, that's the right idea. But going to my wood shop and thinking, what am I going to do for this, blah, 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 what I'm making. 20 minutes later, still only looking through the door, and then think, stuff I'll do something else. It's but in a nutshell, I want to do more of the diorama work. It takes a lot longer, and I want to get back into flatwood work because I need a new workshop, and the only way I'm going to afford a new workshop is by making flatwood stuff and selling it. So in a nutshell, that would probably be most of my future, that flatwood work and diorama stuff. Nice. To give me that escapism, total escapism.
Jamie,
what about the tiramisu, Scott says?
It did look nice. If you're not sure, folks, check out Wayne's Instagram.
That's big for woodcraft.
Jamie, most people having your attention. Yeah.
Well, weirdly, tiramisu, but from James Hoffman has done a tour in Italy to find the origins of tiramisu. So I was watching that last night and going, I haven't had tiramisu for years.
I don't know the origins, but I know the destination. I've been practicing. I did the limoncello one and all that weren't quite as good. But tiramisu is not cheap to make. But I'm having this pizza maker day, and I need a dessert for everybody. and if it's pizza, you've got to have Italian based, and
Good point.
and you've got to have something sweet.
Gelato?
And I ain't got a big enough freezer, but it's what I'll tell you. I could tell you a funny story of that. Valley will kill me, but it's what you call it. See, you've got to have something sweet after pizza because I don't allow pineapple on it. I've got 30 or 40 pizzas to make, and not one of them will have pineapple on.
Anything else, Jamie?
Yeah, I've been making an attempt at cleaning some of the office and rationalizing stuff and sorting cables and all that kind of stuff. So I've been top to toe in dust for this weekend. But doing a little bit of that kind of 3D printing for functional stuff in like spool holders and pegboard clips, and
I've been doing Gridfinity stuff. I've done Gridfinity stuff, and that's been okay. I love that word. That
SCADA stuff and some of the other things, but yeah, Gridfinity's on my list. It's on my radar.
Yeah, I noticed that you said attempted. You attempted. You didn't say completed the project. You just said attempted.
Yeah, I'm probably 70 or 80% there. I've still got a little bit of fiber to run, and a couple of little upgrades and stuff. But I'm there enough that it's kind of for the infrastructure stuff I was doing below the desk. I'm nearly there. I should be able to get it all finished tomorrow. But then top of the desk.
I'm not asking what you're doing below the desk. Just not asking what you do.
Yeah, fortunately, just wading through dust. Nothing too sinister. But I did buy myself a new pair of boots as well. That was Saturday morning. So I bought a pair of trainers a few months back, and they're just crap. So I just went and treated myself to a nice pair of fancy walking boots. So I can, hopefully try and.
You workshop that big?
No, but trying to shift the gut. I've been trying to shift some of the workshop gut that I think we all start to develop. So trying to actually get out and move a bit and do a bit of walking and stuff.
See, I keep my workshop gut because it stops it blowing away.
That's fair. How about you, Andy? Are you feeling back on fighting form now?
Getting there. Still coughing a lot. Still I have to sleep sitting up because otherwise I end up coughing even more. But making progress, slow but sure. Voice isn't still 100% yet, but we'll get there. Otherwise, a few things that have been catching my attention lately. Good podcast for those interested in AI. If you listen to 2/3 Focus today, just a good chat about AI.
I need to listen to that.
Hannah Fry, mathematician, BBC presenter, amongst other things. There's a podcast called Deep Mind, the podcast, which talks about AI. There's 2 seasons of it, so half-hour episodes. So it's been quite interesting listening to sort of some of the developments and sort of aims on AI and AGI. So that's been pretty good. On Instagram, an account that's really caught my attention lately is one called Stage Door Johnny. Sort of stage_door_Johnny with 2 N's. He's a kind of actor, cabaret artist, but he does this whole sort of thing about almost like one person playing 2 parts, one person talking to another, and it's about words and their development. And one character is essentially inventing the words, and the other person is recording them, and it's just hilarious. If you're interested in kind of words. And wordplay,
sort of
it's
etymology sort of stuff, or more.
Yeah, it's kind of sort of.
New words,
it's things like like today there was kind of I can't remember some of it, but it was like they do like opposites, right? So what's the opposite of complete? Incomplete. What's the opposite of? There was something else that was also in to be the opposite of it, and then it was like valuable. So opposite would be valueless. It's like, well, why not invaluable? Oh no, valuable means that it's actually much more valuable.
It sounds like flammable and inflammable.
Yeah, it's just if you like words and wordplay, and it's just hilarious. I mentioned earlier sorting your life out, Stacey Solomon program, the one from last. I would have nominated it last week. I've watched it twice now because it really was very good. And it was kind of workshop one was good. And the other one, kind of this. I'm just looking forwards rather than sort of past slightly. I am booked up next Saturday, so 6 days and counting, to do a wood turning course. I've got a day's wood turning instruction, one-on-one with a local wood turning instructor. So hopefully then I can go and use the lathe at our men's shed safely without killing me or anyone else.
I think that's the point, safely. That's the point, safely. Valerie had a wood turning lesson with Chris Fisher because way I do wood turning it would not be safe for Valerie because I'm rather strong and my hands are strong and brute force. I just stick chiseling and hope it turns right. Whereas Valerie needed that finesse to be taught, and the ideal person was Chris Fisher.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it was great. I mean, because I got back, because I went wandering and I got back, they were like giggling like school kids. But the funny thing is with Chris, he were telling Valerie when she was going wrong. Obviously, we haven't been able to see.
Just the sound.
And just sound, and it worked perfectly. And Valerie learned a hell of a lot, and it built a confidence up. Wood turning. And Chris appreciates Valerie's disabilities. Whereas again, I mean, some of the RPTs may not appreciate Valerie's disabilities as much. And one thing I know if you was teaching Valerie and you become not pleasant, you would be wearing a school chisel. And so Chris Fisher was the ideal choice. Somebody who can learn, teach somebody the finesse.
I kind of wish it was with Chris or also one of the other sort of really good turners we know, but it's only 3 or 4 miles away rather than 300. So
makes difference. Yeah, it does make a difference. And
Wayne, where can people find you if they want to sort of see some of your work? Where's the best place for us to direct?
Only Instagram under Wayne_Bigfoot_Woodcraft. My Facebook page, I tend to keep that to people who I know because I like my Facebook to be. It hasn't been private for much. I tend to like to keep it more private. That's where you post your birthday meal and stuff at your holiday and that. And I don't want to put that on my Instagram. My Instagram's where I want to keep. I'm on YouTube, but I've only got 3 videos, and again, that progression. There's been no progression. I've only got I've only got 3 videos on that, so there's not much to look at. But it does give you a little bit of an insight of what way I think about stuff, especially the one I did where it was showing you the diorama did for Wayne Clasper. That was probably decent to watch it. It's just so I'm not actually making it. I'm talking you through what I've actually made, and so that is probably a better one. But on the whole, Instagram.
Cool. Well, I think that's already actually in the show notes on YouTube, so people can
I think so.
Jump on that and give you a follow. So, thank you for coming on, Wayne. It's been lovely to chat to you. It's been a while, but it's been nice to kind of have a chat. And we will see folks.
To have you back, Andy.
Yeah, well, it's good to be back. Yeah, and we'll see folks next week. I can't remember who we've got on next week. We've got somebody booked, but I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. But yeah, whoever it is, hopefully we'll have a nice chat.
Yes.
Right. Bye then, folks.
Good night, folks.
Bye. Bye, everybody.